eased adoption. So that's the wrong word. What it has is systematized it and made it less corrupt. What was happening before was that a person who wanted to adopt a child, there was no home study done, nothing. You just came, you paid the adoption home, they gave you some paper, you saw a child, you took the child, you went home. Now, whether you were taking a child for slave labor, whether you were an infirm parent, whether you had bad intentions, nobody checked any of that. Now there is very rigorous testing, and each case is treated with urgency. It's totally transparent, and it's taken the power out of individual homes to give children to whoever they feel like. So it's taken time to settle down, but now it's settled down and it's doing okay. We've now tried to include, older children. We have anybody wanting to come for an older child, we give them immediately, if the child is over 6. We have tried to, all these registered institutions which weren't giving children, weren't adopted, we are taking children in from them. We are making the CWCs work faster. We are also taking very stern action on organizations that keep children and don't offer them for adoption because they feel that they're getting money per child. Rakhne ke liye.
Missionaries of charity.
They've come back into the system. Missionaries of charity have realized that they just could not operate like this. So they had really stupid reasons for stepping out. That we had agreed to give to single women. They themselves gave to that film star. They gave her 2 children. She's a single woman. She's still not married. Then they said that we were giving it to people who had been divorced and then remarried. But they gave it to a very famous journalist come writer after he'd been divorced twice and remarried. So we let them go in the beginning, and then they've come back themselves, and they have about 1,000 plus children. We've put so much emphasis on it. We've now got about 25,000 people who want to adopt. But at any given time, who are the children that are thrown away by their parents? It's not that the girl is illegitimate, the child is illegitimate, so it's thrown away. That's a very minuscule percentage. Jadatar, they are thrown away because they are special needs children. So they have a hole in the heart, or they have cerebral palsy, or something. So at any given time, we have about 1,000 children, which is really limited, a very, very small amount for a country of 1.3 billion people. But out of those, only 300 would be normal. 700 would be problematic. Eased adoption. So that's the wrong word. What it has is systematized it and made it less corrupt. What was happening before was that a person who wanted to adopt a child, there was no home study done, nothing. You just came, you paid the adoption home, they gave you some paper, you saw a child, you took the child, you went home. Now, whether you were taking a child for slave labor, whether you were an infirm parent, whether you had bad intentions, nobody checked any of that. Now there is very rigorous testing, and each case is treated with urgency. It's totally transparent, and it's taken the power out of individual homes to give children to whoever they feel like. So it's taken time to settle down, but now it's settled down and it's doing okay. And we've now tried to include, older children. We have anybody wanting to come for an older child, we give them immediately, if the child is over 6. We have tried to, all these registered institutions which weren't giving children, weren't adopted, we are taking children in from them. We are making the CWCs work faster. We are also taking very stern action on organizations that keep children and don't offer them for adoption because they feel that they're getting money per child. Rakhne ke liye. They've come back into the system. Missionaries of charity have realized that they just could not operate like this. So they had really stupid reasons for stepping out. That we had agreed to give to single women. They themselves gave to that film star. They gave her 2 children. She's a single woman. She's still not married. Then they said that we were giving it to people who had been divorced and then remarried. But they gave it to a very famous journalist come writer after he'd been divorced twice and remarried. So we let them go in the beginning, and then they've come back themselves, and they have about 1,000 plus children. We've put so much emphasis on it. We've now got about 25,000 people who want to adopt. But at any given time, who are the children that are thrown away by their parents? And it's not that the girl is illegitimate, the child is illegitimate, so it's thrown away. That's a very minuscule percentage. Jadatar, they are thrown away because they are special needs children. So they have a hole in the heart, or they have cerebral palsy, or something. So at any given time, we have about 1,000 children, which is really limited, a very, very small amount for a country of 1.3 billion people. But out of those, only 300 would be normal. 700 would be problematic. What I took to the GOM, I'm going to go back to the beginning. When I came here, the issue of sexual harassment wasn't important at all. It was this ministry that brought it to the national attention all the time. Why? Because the first thing we did was, in the first month itself, we started making it mandatory for sexual harassment committees to open everywhere. The finance ministry supported us by announcing in the budget itself that everybody would have to have a sexual harassment committee, an ICC, internal complaints committee, and they would have to reflect it in their returns, audit returns. So that was a big boost. Then we started picking on companies that didn't do it. Then we started entertaining. We opened a thing here on the net called She-Box. And from the government, we started getting in complaints. Then we enlarged it. And it was not just government, it became anybody from anywhere. So hundreds and thousands of complaints kept. Then we made one wing of the ministry attend to what we call retail cases, which means the single case. Then the National Commission for Women was then roped in, and they had to deal with these cases. They have, I think, 27 or 30,000 cases at the moment. So this entire sexual harassment thing was brought to the fore by us. That resulted in the Me Too movement. Now, it's a different matter that none of the Me Too women complained to us. But that's fine, it's an idea whose time has come. But that resulted in the GOM. The Prime Minister was good enough to immediately recognize the seriousness of this, so he put the Home Minister and Gadkari ji and Defence Minister. Now, the meeting that took place to discuss what could be the institution to take care of complaints. So I said, at the moment, I'm doing it as ad hoc, in the sense that because I'm personally interested in women getting justice. The ministry is dealing with it, with retail cases, the She-Box. But what will happen after I go? So what I believe is that the National Commission for Women should be made much stronger. Now, in 2014, when I became minister, this was the first thing I did, was to remake the entire National Commission for Women and take it to the government. Unfortunately, it was not seen as necessary at that point. So it's been lying around for 4 years. So again, using the GOM, I brought the National Commission for Women and said, this is the only upay at the end of the day. We've got the ICCs working, but we've still got thousands and thousands of complaints. And these don't necessarily have to be women who are working. It could be women who are being assaulted at home. We have, for instance, for the first time created an NRI cell of women who have been married legally to men who have duped them, taken money, or put them through marriage and then gone abroad and never come back. So we are dealing with those cases as well, and those run into thousands also. So the National Commission for Women has been taken over now. They've made a small group of secretaries, and we've given them a week to study what can be. I mean, they already have my proposal. You know, I believe in systems. So what we did was, when I became minister, for the first time, believe it or not, we started recording the number of shelter homes that are in India. Those have turned out to be 9,000 institutions. Second, it took 3 years to even record them, because most of them were unregistered, unrecognized, and they were living off very strange means. Secondly, then we wrote to every member of parliament saying that please visit the shelter homes in your area, because we don't have feet on the ground. So you are our feet. So every member of parliament, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, was given a letter. So the third thing was, we started checking them out. So a review was carried out by Childline of every shelter that we had. And that review took over a year to collate, which were bad. We have that. So we started communicating then with every state government. To give you an example, वो जो अभी बिहार में हुआ था, that terrible one where the minister's husband was involved. We had written to them 6 months before that, saying that we have received very bad reports about this particular shelter. Please investigate immediately and take action. And we had sent this to the state children's, the SCPCR. And they had again taken it up with the minister and nothing was done. So we pointed it out. Our feet on the ground are the states. So the maximum we can do is to tell them what to do. Now we have sent all our undersecretaries out to all the suspect, all the ones where we got a list are doing badly. And we've sent our undersecretaries out to each one of them to see the stuff on the ground and to close them down. For instance, 21 Odisha homes. Now we're taking action on those. But the ultimate result will be what? These homes, किसी में 20 बच्चे हैं, किसी में 24 बच्चे हैं. From Kerala to Kanyakumari to Kashmir, I would say a large number of homes have got things going wrong in. Where it may be small things, like the one I inspected in Assam, where there was no chitkani to the bathroom. That immediately makes me suspicious. Where there was no geyser, where they had special needs children, 11 of them, living in a room which was meant for 4, and they were in the same place as other boys and girls. It doesn't work for me. So we left it, it was taken care of immediately. But the answer to this is not doing home by home by home by home, because it takes them 10 minutes to relapse. I'll put it right for today, it goes wrong again tomorrow. What I have suggested, and what is on my list of things to do, is one center per state, where all the children for adoption, all the children in need of being taken care of, all the abandoned children, all the shelters, come into one campus, 10 acres, 15 acres. And there they are, we have one agency looking after. Now it's easy to oversee. Now in UP, the Chief Minister has offered land near Gorakhpur. So now let's see how it works out. But ultimately that will be the only way to handle it. Because we can't just keep dealing with chote homes that are all over the place.
Correct.
Unfortunately. But if we had a responsible opposition, they would realize that these, the political cases, the financial cases, the acts, you do your tick on them. But all the social welfare acts, for God's sake, let them go through. Now we've got something lying in Parliament which takes away the powers from the court and gives them to the DM. Let the DM and the CWC inspect and give the child. Otherwise, how many lakhs of women have been made victims? By men, they'll come, they're truck drivers, they'll come and say, we own transport companies. And then they get married to these women and then they disappear and you never see them again. This is true. But she needs to complain and see what we can do. They complain to us, they should be complaining to the Labour Ministry. So if anybody has this complaint, they should go straight to the Labour Ministry because they have the feet to deal with. Now this we knew was going to happen. Two things would have happened. That A, you didn't employ women. But that's a short-term measure. Companies need women. They do more work, they're more honest, they work harder. So in the beginning, the knee-jerk reaction could be, oh my God. But I have to speak to women through you. And that is, we have had about 60 or 70 cases where the woman has got the job and within a month has gotten pregnant. Now what should an employer do? Either he will retrench her, making up some rule, or he'll abolish the position. This is not fair on him as well. So if women could just show some restraint, I'm nobody to tell anybody when to get pregnant. But if women could just understand that if they play this game, then many other women don't get employed. It's like what's happening with 498A. Every time you misuse an act, then other women get into danger. Something that was happening so openly. A tunnel was built to this man's house where children were being taken. Do you think they weren't aware of it? Do you think the neighbors did not know? Do you think that it was happening so secretly? What nonsense. Firstly, the member of parliament should be ashamed of himself, because they should have gone and checked all the shelter homes. And I would like every member of parliament to go and check all the shelter homes. We've written to them again and again and again. They don't do it. Who will keep a check on them? Can I, sitting in remote Delhi, understand what is happening every day? Now, if I can get a report and send it to the state government about Muzaffarpur, do you think that the person sitting in Muzaffarpur couldn't know it?
Absolutely. Now about the one-stop centers, that's an extremely revolutionary step that you've taken, and now practically all of them are working. Yeah. We've seen, Mrs. Gandhi, that domestic violence cases are the highest reported by women. Yeah. How are you handling this challenge?
No, the one-stop centers now, they're about 200 plus, and by next year they will be all 600. It took us a long time to get off the ground because we were only allowed 50, and that took me a year and a half. Then when they started working, we were allowed 200. Now suddenly there's this call for 600, 700. By next year we'll have 600 plus, and then ultimately we'll get to 712. At the moment we won't get to 712 because West Bengal has refused, Delhi has refused. So what can you say? But yes, domestic violence is huge. But the one-stop centers have so far looked after, treated and dealt with 1.4 lakh women. So now we've made institutions. Let them look after this, whether it's domestic violence or it's stalking or it's rape. The institution has been there. What we are doing is training those people again and again, entertaining complaints. For instance, the MP from Bhatinda said, my one-stop center is not working. And within 12 hours, a team was sent. And we found that it was true. She was absolutely right. The one-stop center was not working. Why? Because they said we don't have any furniture. So we gave them furniture and a shouting. Then somebody complained, Ghaziabad, that everybody who came was just referred to the women's police station. So again, it was put right. And now Ghaziabad has become our best.